All right, so one of the big questions that was looming after that Jets game is why in the world did Kevin Stefanski, with no wide receivers, decide to throw the ball 50 times but only run the ball 18 times? Now, a lot of that had to do with circumstance, being behind the sticks, and also, just being down by 3 scores early in the game. But a lot of that also had a lot to do with the play on the field, especially when it comes to the offensive line in the run game and in the pass game. So this week, I'm going to break that down. But before I do that, I want to give a quick shout out to my Dog Check tier Patreon members. And as always, I start with Greg Ealer, Seth Harrison, Corporal Nick Lopez, Nick Nasty, Mandela Moore, the only Browns fan in Wisconsin, Batman, Jake Phillips, Rush Shear, Barack Kumar, John Alver, Masayua, Budza Roland, Ethan Rindauer, James Nemo, Mac House, Reeve Hertz, Justin Cole, Philip Wilcoxon, Marie Vivert, Timothy McClure, Keith Anderson, Joshua Still, Sean Barron, Gagos Pisano, Dom Gazzulo, Ian Whitaker, Colin 216, Anthony Latham, Christian, Matt Bond, Dave Strong, Michael Stone, Soul Train, Charles Work, Dan in West Texas, Billy, Michael Holdenack, Jared Austin, Josh Bendor, Dylan Hell, Andrew Sedejo, David Maldonado, Chad Gimme, Rex Kaufman, Edrin Hall, James McGinley, Brody Cook, Moose Gentry, Patrick F, Austin Z, Mark Burnett II, Andre Griffin, Otis Wolf, IT Rex, Austin Bolin, Jesus Serrano, Joshua Paulus, Chris Farms, Pick Down Browns Backers, Mark Kahn, Max Al Dojo, Beerman 069, SSJ Swift, Andrew Hirsch, Feeling Dangerous 113, Dave Mike May, John Cummings, Robert Jermaine, Cleveland BCI, Anthony O, Bobo Regretti, Stuart Moore, TJ Showman on cue, Mark M, Jalil Salim Sr., Martha Crusnut, Ryan T, Jonathan Fredericks, CK, Eric Green, Joseph Stevens, and Water Bear Mark. I want to thank you guys again for your support. It is vital to this channel. It is so helpful with everything else that is going on in this year. It's really helpful that you guys have been there to be helpful. So thank you guys so much for that support, and I hope you guys enjoy what I'm putting out. But without further ado, let me jump down in the Batcave and break down some of these things that I saw in the film versus the Jets. All right, y'all. I'm gonna start this off by saying I am not enjoying what I have to do here, and in no way do I take joy in pointing this out or having to show you guys what I saw. Especially because it involves a young player in Nick Harris, who is not put in a great position right now. He's a center. He's not supposed to be a guard. But the question has been asked to me a lot. Why did the Browns continue to run the ball? Not continue to run the ball in this game. Why did they throw so much? Well, a key part in understanding that is understanding where the leaks were on that offensive line, what were the nature of those leaks, and why running the ball was not productive and unsustainable, despite the fact that you had Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt, because you had multiple leaks on the offensive line, and it just wasn't happening for you on that front. So don't take this as an indictment on Nick Harris. This is not really a fair evaluation on Nick Harris, because this is not his real position. He should not be playing this position in NFL. It's only because of an emergency he has to play this position. But again, if you want to understand why the Browns had to throw the ball over 50 times, this is a key part in understanding it. So here we go, man. We're just going to jump into it. First play right here. Now, I don't know whose fault this is, but it's definitely on this side of the ball. All right. You guys saw what we see here. They run the ball. And it looks like, to me, it looks like Nick Harris is supposed to handle this guy up here. So I think he does do his job here. I think he's supposed to seal here. And, Harris and Brian Tide is supposed to get there faster, get a little chip so you can have a little bit of a seal here, a little bit of a crease for him to cut through so Nick Chubb can kind of go up and out if he wants to, or up and through if he has that opportunity. This right here, probably more on Harrison Bryant, just doesn't get there, not strong enough, doesn't hold him. Nick Chubb gets stopped. All right, that's one play. Let's move on to the next play. This is where things got bad for Nick Harris. Keep your eye on him, 53. And we're going to see what happens to him. And we're going to see why this is a bad sign. All right, you guys catch that? Ball gets ran there. Nick Harris is supposed to be the lead blocker. He's already looking at his running back. You see the helmet stripe? Again, keep an eye on Nick Harris. He goes out here to get to this linebacker. Keep your eye on this. Okay? You see that? That's a linebacker who just put our right guard on his butt. A linebacker from a standing position just put Nick Harris on his butt. That's not good. That's not good. And, of course, the run's not successful because of that. All right. Again, let's go to this next play. Watch 53. It's a common thread. Just watch 53. You'll see why the run didn't happen. They're running out the shotgun. They're trying to get this run game going some way, somehow. Watch 53 on this. Can't get the seal. Gets faked out by 46. 46 ends up making the play. You know, he's chasing tail. Couldn't get there. Nick Chubb gets tackled. Not a big gain on that play. All right, so this play right here, Nick Harris. Watch Nick Harris again. This matchup on 91. I think the thing that happened was that the Jets game planned and recognized that Nick Harris is really small to be playing guard in the NFL. So we're going to do everything to try to take advantage of that. We're going to put a lot of strength on him to see if we can move him. Once they saw that linebacker put him on his butt, they doubled down on that technique, and it really worked, and it took away the run game. Give credit to the Jets. They did everything they needed to take away the run game. The reason the Browns couldn't run the ball, partly on the offensive line, also partly because the Jets took it away. Right? You see 53? Just gets bull rushed by a linebacker. Stand-up linebacker. Comes down, bull rushes him right into the play. That can't happen, man. You can't have your right guard get bull rushed by a linebacker into the run play and expect to be able to run the ball a bunch of times. I'm sorry, it's a bad recipe. You know, say what you want about throwing the ball 50 times to no wide receivers. This is just as bad. You can't run the ball 50 times in this. This dude came from a stand-up linebacking position to push your starting right guard, well, not your starting right guard, but the guy who started at right guard, into your running back before the play could even be started. And the sad part is, if he holds that block for a half a second, the play's there. Right? The seal is there. He just has to hold his man for a couple of seconds. Could not do it. Unacceptable. You know, I get Nick Harris is a young guy. Should not be in that position. This is what happens. This is why they could not run the ball. This is what Kevin Stefanski saw that made him say, I got to stop running this ball. But it wasn't just Nick Harris, by the way. It was some of your veterans, some of your good offensive linemen. Joe Bitonio and Jack Conklin didn't necessarily have great games either. Watch Jack Conklin on this play. Watch the right tackle. I'm going to highlight him right here for you guys. Watch Jack just get beat, and this forces a fumble. Yep. I don't know what he was doing out there. He shot out, took bad position, had terrible leverage after that. And then, you know, that happened, right? I don't know what this was, but I don't know if he was falling before the ball got snapped. So he just took a weird angle. I don't know if he was expecting a bull rush. Like I would have to ask him what happened there, but pretty easy to just get the hands off of him in that way and just force a fumble. Offensive line play was terrible. It wasn't just Nick Harris, but Nick Harris wasn't helping nothing. But it shouldn't be on Nick Harris, to be fair. Nick Harris is not a starter. Now we're going to switch to the defensive side of the ball because, no, I have not forgotten about how sorry the defense was against the Jets. And I get people are saying, well, they made some stops at the end of the game. You made some stops against Sam Darnold. I'm not patting you on the back for making stops against the Jets. All right, the offense gets the excuse because they didn't have any wide receivers. The defense, you really weren't affected by this. You lost B.J. Goodson. You really got no excuse. You really got no excuse for what happened on plays like this. And again, I don't like to say stuff without having something to back it up. So when I say the communication in the secondary is awful, this is the stuff I see that makes me say it. I don't say these things for no reason. But look, I want you to watch their tight end. Their tight end's actually good. He's a known guy, Henderson. All right. So their tight ends lined up here. You got 1, 2, 3 guys in this general area. You're splitting the field up. Watch how they cover them. Well, don't cover them. All right, yeah, Denzel acting like he's going to blitz. He's not. And this is just infuriating, man. So, again, watch the peanut gallery right here. And it's very rare that Denzel includes himself in that group. 1, 2, and 3. This is Mack Wilson. This is Carl Joseph. This is Denzel Ward. And all 3 of these dudes think they're watching this area of the field. Think they're watching that running back come out the flat. All 3 of these guys are watching this running back essentially. And nobody covers the deep third of the field at all. Just nobody thought it was their responsibility. Everybody passes off the tight end, past their zone or man, and just lets this happen, right? Watch the tight end, gets off, they pass off. You can see here that Denzel thinks that Carl Joseph's going to pick him up. Carl Joseph thinks he's worried about the running back. So does Denzel Ward. And then I don't know what in the world Mack Wilson is doing. I think Mack Wilson's watching this running back because he thinks he's going to come across the middle. He's going to come down and crash and get a big hit on him. But I think he's probably supposed to be back out here waiting for that tight end. None of that happens. Nobody sees the tight end. Well, everybody sees the tight end. Nobody takes the tight end as their responsibility. Boom, tight end's wide open. And look, that's one of those plays you're going to blame on Sendejo because he comes into the frame right at the end. That's not on Andrew Sendejo. He was doing everything he was supposed to be doing on that play. Look, this side of the field, the side without the people you know, right? They did their job. This side, these three dudes could not cover these 2 guys. One is a Pro Bowler. The other one is a former longtime starter in Carl Joseph, and Mack Wilson was supposed to be good. These 3 dudes could not cover a tight end and a running back because they could not get it together who had what responsibility for 2 guys when there's 3 of them. They outnumbered them. They could not do it. Look at this. I'm sorry. I think I'm off the screen here. But they could not do it. Absolutely insane. 1, 2, 3. 3 people. This half, they're doing fine. These 3 guys, supposed to be all good, can't cover the tight end and the freaking running back coming out the flat. This should be as simple as pass off, flat, carry up, and then you, if somebody comes across the middle, you try to hop that. You're the robber. You know, if this is cover 1, you're a robber. You're underneath, right? Or thief, whatever you want to call it. But no, everybody does the same thing, so nobody makes a play. And he just gets wide open. I don't know whose fault that is, but it's one of those 3. I don't really care for the semantics of the situation at this point, right? This is embarrassing. All right, back to the run game. We're going to see more of Nick Harris just not being a guard. He's not a guard. It's not his fault. He should not be out there at guard. You have no other choice, but he just shouldn't be out there. Because if the linebackers are bull rushing him, you already know what 96 about to do to him. He bull rushes him straight into the fullback, and this whole play gets blown up because of that, right? It's a slight second. He gets bull rushed, and let me highlight him so you can see him. Right here, watch this matchup. He gets bull rushed. That goes right into the fullback, right into Nick Chubb. Nick Chubb has to make a cut to get out the way. And by the time he makes that cut, all those seals that were there aren't there. He gets tackled in the backfield. He's just not a guard, man. There's nothing you could do about that. He's not an NFL guard. You can't even be mad at Nick Harris. What's he going to do? He can't get stronger during the course of the game. He's not an NFL guard. That's a legitimate reason. That's not even an excuse. This is a reason for why they couldn't run the ball and why they couldn't call all these run plays that everybody wanted them to call, because it wouldn't make sense. They can't do it. They're physically not capable. If you don't believe me, look how hard they got to work just to get 1 yard. This is a 1 yard rushing play. Look at all these dudes. Look, they have 3 tight ends, a fullback, offset, strong. They're getting motion, doing all this work just to get a yard. They got to do all this work because why? Because Kendall Lamb gets beat right off the snap. It's one of those meshes, so, that happens. This happened with Ray Guy against the Patriots last year with the Browns. It was a pretty bad play, but it happened like that last year. So Kendall never even gets a hand on this guy. It's not necessarily his fault. That's more on the protection. But that eats up Andy Janovich. Now Nick Chubb loses his lead blocker, and 50's there. Nobody's there to block him. Nick Chubb has to try to make a play. You get a yard. Running the ball was not going to save you against the Jets because the Jets were stopping it. Jets were eating your offensive line alive, even your good offensive linemen. Look at Joe Bitonio right here. Joe Bitonio is a perennial All-Pro. Watch him. Watch what happens. 94 on him. Goes inside. 97 crashes. Just beats him. Forces that play inside. And then boom, you get stuff. Even Joe Bitonio wasn't really eating out there. It wasn't like you had anybody to run the ball behind. And then you get to pass coverage. And look, here's the reality. When your offensive line is leaky, you can throw the ball and do some things to mitigate for that a little bit. But when your offensive line is leaky, you can't run the ball. Ain't nothing you can do about running the ball when your offensive line is leaky because it was just leaky. And unfortunately, it was Nick Harris that was the leak. And they were picking on him all game. Look at this one. This is just bad. Bro, they just hands off and Nick. This is just bad, man. Hands got him off. Baker sacked. What are you going to do? What are you going to do, man? What are you going to do? So, all the headlines went about the wide receivers, went about the defense, and for good reason. But the bigger headline was that the Browns are starting 2 third-string offensive linemen, and boy, did it show against the Jets. I'd said one of the keys to beat the Browns all season long was a team that can get defensive pressure with their front four. If a team can do that, you can stop the play action, you can take the run game out, and you can slow down this team. And especially when they ain't got no wide receivers to throw to, you can do some real damage on that front. The Jets showed up on the defensive front. You look at the teams that beat the Browns, all of them showed up in that way. It is what it is. That's what happened. If you want to know why the Browns did not run the ball a ton on Sunday, that's a huge part of it. So that's my thoughts on it. That's the film breakdown. The good news is that hopefully Nick Chubb does not have to run behind Nick Harris. It's going to be probably Wyatt Teller, hopefully. The good news is that these are temporary discomforts rather than permanent discomforts for the whole season. These are temporary. Hopefully just 1 week only. That's the good news. But some of those bad things weren't by players who are only going to be out there for a week or two. But that's my thoughts on this game. That's why I think they need to change. That's what I think the problem was. Let me know your thoughts down in the comment section below. But again, guys, thank you for watching. Have a great day. Have a good night.